everyone, I'm Nettie K. Welcome back to my studio. Last time we met, we painted a Corgie Chihuahua mix for a viewer. Her name is Christy, and she went on my Etsy site at nettiekstudio.etsy.com and ordered a pet portrait for herself. And then she asked if I might do a lesson on YouTube of the process so that she could learn a little bit about how to paint the dog, because she's wanting to learn how to do pet portraits too. Well, she's having some difficulty because she's painting in acrylic and it's just not looking right. And I wanted to share with you the difference between painting in oil and painting in acrylic. And so last time we did oil, and now I'm going to show you the crazy differences between oil and acrylic by doing it one more time. It'll be really exciting, so stay tuned and let's get going. Yeah. Okay. I have my panel here. I've got a little sketch of the dog and we're ready to go. On my acrylic, now what's the difference between oil and acrylic? Oh my gosh, acrylic dries super fast, you guys. So oil, you can take your time and you can just kind of and just kind of mess with it a little bit here and there and not have it dry, boom, just like that. Acrylic will dry, especially on a hot sunny day, super fast. And you'll find that you're not going to have the time to blend all those little things that you want to blend, and it can get a little bit frustrating. Now, it's still a really fun medium and I use it all the time. I teach my kids with it because until they're about 14 years old, they're not allowed to use the oils in the studio. So I have an assortment of paint and I can see it's already starting to dry. I have, what is this color of blue? It's really pretty. This one is a Liquitex heavy-bodied brilliant blue. I like that one for the background. I've got some cream colored paint that I've mixed up with some white with a little bit of yellow ochre, and I have some dark raw umber, a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit raw sienna, a little bit of black, some orange, and some purple. Let's just see what trouble we can get into with those colors. Yeah. Now, one of the main things that you need to remember, oh, outside of a little bucket of white, okay. One of the main things that you need to remember is that when you're painting with acrylic, it's really a good idea to have some medium, and this is a gloss varnish and medium that I get in a big bottle. Hang on, I hope I don't fall off my chair. Okay. This one is the gloss medium and varnish by Liquitex. And it comes in smaller bottles, but believe me, you're going to want a bigger one. And it actually comes in huge buckets, which I have one of those. And you add that to your paint so that it doesn't dry quite so fast, all right? That helps an awful lot. And then at the very end, when it's all done, you just put a nice coat of that over the top. And wow, it really makes it look nice. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, so now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of we're going to just start out with a little bit of black, and I'm going to begin. See this nose right here? I'm going to do my usual thing. I'm going to try to keep my arm out of it, and we're going to put one line down. That's our little line in the middle. Do you remember the little arrow at the bottom? This is just one of my ways that I do a dog nose. And then I'm going to come up here. I'm going to do the number 6. Isn't that fun? And then the backwards letter J with the little nostril in it, just like that. And that's basically how I do my noses. I think I'm going to put a little line across the top. And hopefully before that dries, I'm going to take a little bit of red. I forgot about that red that was sitting over here. Take a little bit of red with my brown. A little red and brown. And I think I'm going to add a little tiny bit of orange to it. And we'll put that in before it dries. If I can try to catch it before it dries, it makes it a lot easier. I'll put a little bit of a reddish tinge in here to start with. And then I'm going to layer it a little bit. Now with that medium, it looks like I'm able to get kind of a transparent effect. Even, ooh, I just hit that side of the face. It's okay, I'm going to paint right over it anyway. And so I've got that going on like that. There's a little, now I know that nose is not that red. I know that. But I'm going to start with that red, and then I'm going to come back in with a little bit more brown. This is that raw umber paint, and I'm going to come back in and add to it. I think I'm going to let it dry a little bit before adding that next layer on. So I'm going to let that dry, and so while it's drying, it takes very little bit of time. I'm going to come back up here like this, and I'm going to go up and do a little bit of a pupil in the eye, and another pupil in the eye here. Now with acrylic, I don't have to worry about leaving a little highlight out of it, because I can just paint. It'll dry so fast that I'll be able to paint right over it. I'm going to make these pupils just a little bigger so that they look a little more puppy dogish, a little more, the larger the pupil, the more friendly the dog looks. And then I'm going to come up around the outside of the dog's eyes like this, a little bit of that dark color, dark tonal value, which is just our black. He looks like he's really shocked and surprised, doesn't he? Woo! Yeah, without putting that dark color in it, it looks like, ah! Imagine if the pupils were just a pinpoint, it would really look funny. Okay, now, I think what I'll do at this stage is I'm going to take a little bit of that dark brown, and we'll come in with just a little bit of the dark brown. You can barely see the pupil in the dog's eye to start with. You just know it's there. So I'm putting a little bit of the dark brown, which is almost a little bit transparent, but not quite. And I know you can't really see that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a little bit of the raw sienna, which is a color of my hair, all right? And I'm going to say, okay, the light's coming from the left side, and I'm going to put a little bit of that raw sienna on this side, on both sides of the eye, on both the same side, on both eyes, and then I'll come back in with a little bit more of that brown. I'm going to have to put the pupils back in again, so it looks a little glowy. Okay, just a little glowy, you can see. So it's dark on one side, light on the other. Go back in and reestablish your pupils about 5 times. Yeah. Try to make them the same size. I think I've got mine way off here. Okay, this is what happens when you're not right directly in front. Uh-oh. Okay, back up. A little darker color there. Good. And I'm trying to kind of even out those pupils. Okay, that looks cute. Now I'm going to, at this stage, I'm going to grab a tiny little bit of white, and then right as where the pupil and the color mix, I'm going to put a tiny little light right there. Just a little dot right like that. Okay, at about 10 o'clock. There. Okay, now this has now kind of dried a little bit, so now I'm going to come back in with some of that raw umber, that kind of brownish color, and I'm going to work that in, give it a little bit of texture. And I know that the bottom of the nose is going to be darker, so I might even add a little bit of black to the brown and make it darker, because it's kind of coming down the plane in front of it like that. And then while I've got that on here, I'm just going to kind of work that in for the mouth. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Now, let's get a bigger brush, and we're going to go in, and while this is drying, I'm going to come back in and I'm going to go inside the ear, and I'm seeing it's got kind of a little purple. I'm taking a little purple with raw sienna, and I love using purples and browns, purples and tans for various different things. So I'm going to put that purple and tan, a little bit more of that raw sienna. It's a little too purple. And then we're going to put that in like that. And I've got a little space over here. And while I've got that on my brush, I'm going to work that in over here. What I find in the acrylic is that you have to go so fast. It makes it, it's a little stressful. It really is. It stresses me out just a little bit more than the oil. I tend to enjoy the oil a little bit more. But when you're feeling a little hyper, it kind of works pretty well. So now I'm going to get some white, and I mix some white into that kind of purple with the tan, purple and tan. And I'm going to come up here like this. Before it dries, This is it. Don't let it dry, otherwise you're going to have to do it all over again. And we're going to put that up into the ear there. That's kind of a pinkish color. I'm going to add a little orange to it. I know that's kind of weird, but it needs a little bit of a warm color. And we'll come back in up in here. Got to make sure I look at my reference here a little bit. And then I'm going to wipe it off and maybe kind of scumble it back and forth a little bit like that. And then I think it needs a little more of the darker color. Hang on. Mixed it all up and then I lost it. There we go. Okay. Purple and tan for the inside of the ear. Now, you know, not every dog's ears are going to be the same color. So, you know, make sure you look at your reference, you guys. You got to make sure that you're not just saying, oh, well, the noses are black, the ears are pink. No, they're not all the same. They're different. And sometimes they change even depending on what the light is. So here we go. This is a darker value, which just means light, middle, dark. It's funny, it gets kind of confusing when you say the word value. Well, does that mean how much it's worth? No, it means how dark it is in art language. It means how dark. That's a very dark value right here. So I'm really making that nice and dark, right like that. Now I'm going to add a little bit more tan to that purple again, and we're going to come in around, I need it even darker. Woo, even darker. Okay, and I might even add a tiny bit of the, whoops, okay, got a little bit carried away. Okay, so now we're going to come in with some kind of a dark purpley brown, and I'm going to come back in and make that just a little bit dark right there so that the eyes set back in. We get that kind of a dark look right there. So I'm looking more for value, and I'm also looking for the temperature of color. Is it cool? Is it warm? Is it light? Is it dark? So I know I've got purple on here. Don't freak out. It's purple and a little bit of tan. I'm going to just put that in a couple of spots to mark where this is going as far as anything that goes back into space. Okay. And then here is this kind of a little triangle piece that goes right there. And that comes around the eye there. What else am I seeing? Oh, there's a little piece right there. And okay, now let's get into some of the orange color. And that is a very, very transparent orange color, but I'm going to put it on. And I think I'll have to do a couple of layers. I like doing, the advantage of the acrylic is that you do it in, you can do your layers a lot faster because you don't have to wait for it to dry. So if you find the paint is too transparent, then you're going to have to add a little bit of white or something that is more opaque. Okay, the word opaque means you can't see through it, okay? And I'm going to put a little bit of that orange over here. I know what my orange problem is. This orange that I made it into a transparent glaze for a lampshade that I was working on. Big paper lampshade. Ooh, I should show it to you. It's an antique lampshade form that I made out of handmade paper. Oh my gosh. And I actually I took my orange and I put a bunch of medium in it so it's really transparent. Okay, I divert. Okay, now let's go back in and, but it's kind of an interesting combination. Now I'm going to add some white to it because, wow, is it ever transparent. It's going to be nice and shiny too. Okay, now, and I'm going to add some raw sienna because it's a little bit more opaque. There we go. Okay, that's better. Can figure out why my orange was so thinned out. It's because it's thinned out. Okay, and then, oops, I got this thing wiggling all over the place. Let's see if I can stabilize it. And then I've got a little bit of a lighter color. Let's get a little bit more of this lighter. Oh, that's really light. Okay, cream. I'm going to take that up there. And I'm just splashing it around. I'm having some fun with it. I want to be nice and loose with this one. I'm not going to go for super realistic because it's just really hard. It's really hard to do realistic with acrylic. I also want to put in a tiny bit of blue. I know this is crazy, but I'm going to take a little bit of this, this bright blue, mix it just a tiny bit with some of the orange mix. Look at that, it's a bit of a grayish color, so I'm going to make it into a little bit of a shadow. Purple, it's got purple orange, gray. This is a shadow color for under the chin, and I'm going to add some more color. I know this looks really crazy, you guys, and it really is. Okay, just saying, it's really crazy. Okay, okay, now let's get, let's take some more of our white color and our orange, and we're going to come in and just kind of get this going. I've got a little bit of blue in there as well, and it just makes for a nice first layer. In fact, it's just right. It's just right. That makes me happy. A little bit of the chin. So, oh, I hope I have some more of that color. Hang on. This is the shadow color. It's a little purple, a little bit of blue, and a little bit of orange. Let's just get that right there. And there's a little bit of that on the top of the nose there. This just gives me somewhere to bounce the white off. So I've got a lot of white, purple, and blue. It's just a mixture of a lot of colors. White, purple, blue, orange. And I'm putting this all over this little critter. I'm going to allow it to dry, and I'm going to go all the way up. Oop, that's really, really dark. Let's get a little bit lighter. And then I'm going to add another layer. And I know you guys are just going, what the crud is she doing? Yeah, but it's just going to work. You just got to let yourself go every once in a while and paint something crazy. And that's really what I'm doing. Okay, so now let's go into some cream and some orange and a little bit of raw sienna. And we'll come back up here. That's perfect. And then you can see how it begins to look a little more natural. It's not quite there yet, but we'll get there. I like that color. I'm going to put it here. I'll have to repaint those eyes too, because I've kind of done this in a messy way. Now, as this is drying, then I can come in with these colors, these lighter colors over the top. It's like, my gosh, you guys are crazy. She's crazy. Okay, and I want to go in, here is a little bit darker, so here we're going to come back in with another layer. It's already dry underneath, so I'm going to come in with another layer of our darker color here. See how fast that dries, so you can keep putting the layers on. And while this is drying right here, I am now going to come in with a contrast. I'm going to get my big brush out, and then I'm going to get a little medium. I'm going to go into this blue that's got a little purple in it, and then we're going to set this off by putting a nice blue background in it like this. Whoa! Yeah, a little blue, maybe a little purple. I like that purple too. And then we're going to, it's going to help set the ears off. It'll set the whole dog off because it's opposite on the color wheel. Okay, it's this blue, you know, that's in contrast with the orange dog. I like it. Stylistically, it's just completely different, isn't it? Yeah. And I know a lot of you guys are not going to like it. And this is why most of the time I do not paint my pet portraits in acrylic. I wanted to show you the difference. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to be terrific and fun when we get all done, but it is very, very different, and it's going to be, for many of you, extremely frustrating because you just can't get the control. And I think I lost the whole shape of the dog's head there. It's a bit, you know, when you're doing watercolor, it's not very forgiving. I know I might have somebody argue with me on that one. You tend to have to know where you're going ahead of time, and then be very careful when you're painting it. Acrylic is sometimes not very forgiving either, except for that you can paint over things. Okay, I'm going to rinse this brush out. I need to correct a little bit of a shape right here. Now the other thing, make sure that you keep your brush in your water. Don't just leave it lay down. I can leave my brush laying down if I have oil on my brush because it doesn't dry. If I leave my brush out for 5 minutes, on a warm day especially, I can wreck my brush super fast. Now I have a solution. If I've accidentally let my brush dry out, put a little jar of what is it called? Murphy's oil soap. You know, the one where they do those little commercials they used to do on how to clean church pews. Okay, that was a long time ago. Murphy's oil soap is for wood, and you just leave your brush in there for a period of time, maybe a couple of hours, and it will take the dried acrylic paint out. That's a really good tip, you guys, so don't forget to try that. That's what I use to clean my brushes when it comes to acrylic and oil. Okay, and oil too. Okay, now we got to come back in with some raw sienna. We're going to correct this like this. Okay, his head, the shape of the head just went awry, and if I can let this dry a little bit more, I'll probably do that. Okay, now it's time to go in with our lights a little bit. All right, now we're going to go back in with our white. And I think what I want to do is put a little bit of the cream color in, just because it will look like sunshine on our dog's head. Okay, here we go. This is white with a little bit of creamy yellow in it. And now I got to start being a little bit more careful. I've been a little bit goofy with this. And everybody's going to go, what? She thinks she can paint? You know, what a joke. No, you have to get there somehow at some point. So here's our cream color, and we're going to come it down like this and kind of get the little face to in like this. Oh, that's starting to look cute. Okay, now there we go. There's a little shape. And then I'm going to come down. There's a little spot on the chest there, and we're going to start flipping out some of the little cream colored stuff on the dog. Okay, now I want to remember to keep this side dark, all right? Even though I know this is a cream color, it's not the same value. It's not the same super light value. Otherwise, you miss out on all the wonderful contrasts of light and dark. And so we're going to get back in here and kind of fluff that out. Now you can see it's starting to come together. That's a lot of fun. I'm excited about it. Sort of hoping, praying that it might turn out. And then I'm going to come up in here and begin putting a little bit of light into the ear in a couple of spots. Here we go, like that. Woo, isn't that fun? It's fast. You are the pressure of moving fast when it comes to acrylic can again be kind of stressful. So if you want to take your time and, you know, fiddle around, it may not be the one medium that you you know, really want to think about. You might want to try something else. But it is kind of lively, isn't it? It's very, very lively. Okay, what else do we need to do? We need to make some corrections, that's for sure, over here. Make this into a little bit there. Make sure that we have the shape just right. And then I can go back in and redo some of the details. Okay, here's a little bump up on the eye that kind of is catching a little bit of light there. And a little bit of light at the top of the ear, like that. And then, what have we got right here? Isn't this crazy, you guys? Yeah, I think I must be insane doing this on the air and having you guys watch me fight through it. It's wild. It's just wild. Okay, now I'm going to come back in here. This has got a nice dark hue underneath, and I can put my transparent orangish color over the top just a little bit. I think this is actually more in a white creamy zone, so let's add a little bit of purple to it, okay? A little purple raw sienna down in here into the shadow. That's neat. Purple is a wonderful shadow color. Now, if I want it to look a little more like it's white, I'm going to put in a little more of that background blue so that it doesn't look like the tan color. I've got to master that a little bit. Okay, got to figure this out. There, that's just a shadowy color there. This has got a little bit of a dark orange color that I got to mess with. Here's a little thing right here, a little shoulder blade that I've got to put in. And we'll put this back like this. And then I'm going to come back in with some of that, a little bit of that creamy lavender purple. There we go. Woo. And I'm just flipping it into the background. See how I didn't wait till the end to put the background in, and I didn't put it in right at the beginning either, because I want to be able to kind of work this hair in just a little bit. And I'm going to end up with this huge dog if I'm not careful. I might have to work some more background in again. Okay, now where's this? There's a little patch right here where the face kind of comes forward a little bit. Okay. Now let's get this worked back in so it doesn't look like just a big stripe. Back over the top. And then I'm going to come around the edge of that ear with some of that orange and raw sienna like this. Still got this huge brush. That's okay. That's all right. Now let's go back in with a little dark underneath. Okay, a little bit darker there. So I'm now looking at the values that I might need to adjust. And I'll tell you why. Because acrylic dries a different value than when you put it on. Oil will remain the same. Acrylic will dry darker than what you apply. So you have to guess, what's it going to look like when it dries, and then you make an adjustment over the top, and you can really drive yourself completely nuts when you do that. But okay, but that's just part of the fun and the challenge, and if you enjoy that sort of thing, go for it. Okay, so now I'm putting a few little hairs going this direction. I'm sort of liking this. I think it might work. I'm going to go in with a little bit of darker brown mixed in with a little bit of orange and a little raw sienna. We're going to go back in and restate some of the darker areas here. And we're going to go here, and then I have underneath, this is dark, put a little bit of that shadow color there, find that around the mouth. There we go, I just lost it. I'm going to take it now, if I can just do that. And now one of the guys that, I don't know if you guys watch public broadcast, there is one man that I have seen that can paint in acrylic and make it look like oil painting, and that's Jerry Yarnell on public broadcast. So if you haven't caught him, kind of, you can find him on YouTube too. But see if you can watch him, because he can really do it. He did it because he had some health issues, and he was kind of wondering if maybe the oil paint was causing some problems, or at least making it worse. Anyway, whatever. He got pretty sick there for a while, and so anyway, that was one of the things that he decided to shift into oil painting as a result of that, and that's kind of why. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with my small brush, and we're going to go back in just a little bit, and I'm going to evaluate what's happening with the painting from the beginning. Go back in, put in the little lines, and re-establish our nose. There we go again. So there, and we'll just kind of get that nice and reestablished in there. So I have to, it's a lot of repainting, painting, repainting, painting, repainting. I know some of you guys might be a little bit more fussy with it, which I think that's just, the way it is sometimes. There, we're going to get the details in. So if you're if you start out and you're more careful with it, you're going to have a different result than what I'm doing right now. And let's see. Okay, now I'll go back into a little bit of the purple, and we'll get the little area around here done, and then I'm going to come back with that darker purple like that, and we'll kind of blend it. And this is a much darker value than what I have on here, so I'm going to put that in like that again. Oh my gosh, I must be insane to do this, but it's kind of fun. Okay. Okay, well, let's see. I hope you get the idea of what I'm trying to get across. This is not an easy way to paint. It's not easy. Now, maybe it is for you. I don't know. But it is a challenge for me to get it to look right. It's pretty cute. That's all dry and I can't move it. Now the last bit, here let's go, the last bit. Okay, I'm going to take some pure white in a few spots there, and we're going to take some real light white there, and some real light white there, and a little bit here, and some right here, a little bit over here, and okay, this is getting a little bit crazy, but I did want you to see a little bit of the process of, you know, this kind of rapid fire, loose, crazy painting that can happen in acrylic. Now you can paint crazy in oil too, but I think it's a little bit more of a calmer medium when it comes to painting things that are blended and a little bit more smooth. So let's do a little bit of a comparison here. Okay, so I have my calm beginning of the oil painting here with a lovely blended background, and then over here I have the lively and crazy brush strokes that I don't seem to be able to control. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit more time. I'm going to finish this one up just a little bit more, sit myself right directly in front of it, and give, you know, move a little bit smaller and smaller brushes, not too small because I don't want to lose that kind of crazy liveliness, but I want to make sure it's fairly accurate. And then I'll be right back and I'm going to show you what it looks like in the end. Okay, so just a minute, I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I worked on this painting for another 20-25 minutes. I put in a few strokes of hair here and there, reined in the detail, and made sure the eyes weren't crossed. What did we learn from this little experiment? Well, I'll tell you. One of the things, the main thing that I want you to remember is that if you have been struggling with getting your paintings to look realistic, it may not be your skill level. It may be your paints. So if you've been working in acrylics, it's very, very difficult to get a realistic look in acrylic. I'm just going to say it right there. It may be possible, but it's not real probable, especially if you're a beginner. So I would suggest that you try a few tubes of oil and let me know how it goes. Yeah. Now, if you've been working in oil and you've just kind of gotten stuffy, well then, you know, grab the acrylics and see how that goes, because it's kind of fun. All right, it's fun. It does give you a little more of a childlike look in your paintings, and it's a bit more of a challenge for me, it is anyway. But it is kind of fun. All right, so next time we meet, who knows what we'll be doing. We might be doing some illustration. We might be doing, you know, maybe a face. We might be doing a face, a vase, or maybe even a place. Okay, so love you guys. Don't forget to wear your mask when you go out, everybody, for a little while longer. Love you. Stay safe, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.